We always see how big corporations utilizes data decision-making as use cases, but how can it transform a family business in Teluk Intan, Perak as well? Let us find out today how Tiam Fisheries operates their traditional business model while being data-driven. Tiam Fisheries acts as a seller and distributor of fresh seafood in the town of Teluk Intan, Perak. They do business with other businesses such as nasi kandar stores and fresh marts as well. But today, we will focus on their operations in the wet market, fulfilling local residents' demands. Aside from selling fresh seafood off the hands of fishermen, they also package frozen seafood as well. And this includes not only local seafood, but also fancy imported offerings like king crab. To better grasp Tiam Fisheries' transition into data analytics, we need to first understand their business model. The business sources their seafood fresh from the port, where they will carefully inspect, select, weigh and load the stock on the spot. Then the stock will be either transported to cold storage for further processing or sold freshly in the wet market. At first, it may seem that this traditional model is just fine to run a family business, but the underlying issues are evident when seasonal demand and uncertain supply is prominent in the seafood industry. For instance, peak season demand such as festive season can surge the demand, which leads to high possibility of stockouts, vice versa. Tiam Fisheries also faces long lead time when importing the fancier frozen seafood, which means accurate forecast is needed to balance their cash flow, storage space and inventory count. And all of these are further exacerbated by the uncertain weather not only at the local ports but also overseas supply sources. So, how does data come into play for Tiam Fisheries? The answer to Tiam Fisheries' inventory challenges came not from some expensive software or data scientists, but from a combination of two accessible sources, one digital and one deeply human. On the digital side, the business further enhanced their usage of cold storage by utilizing AutoCount's cloud services, a billing and invoicing system that automatically captures daily sales data. Every transaction, the type of seafood sold, the quantity, and the customer and the revenue is logged in real time. And at the end of each month, the system generates a clear report showing exactly which items are moving fast and which are slowing down, thus greatly helping the business to forecast demand. As we all know, the numbers don't lie. However, numbers alone don't tell the whole story. That's why the owner also takes a different approach where he will head down to the wet market, observing firsthand which items are selling out fast and also listening directly to what customers are saying about prices and preferences. This qualitative layer adds more context that data alone can't capture. Together, these two data streams reveal patterns that transform how Tiam Fisheries operates. For instance, seafood demand spikes sharply every weekend and around major public holidays, which now helps to trigger precise pre-orders. Another great example would be how the data exposed a dramatic seasonal shift during Ramadan month. Restaurant orders from nasi kandar stores will drop significantly while household purchases at the wet market surges. Without data, this shift would catch the business off guard, but with it, the business sees it coming and prepares accordingly. But insight without action is just information. What sets Tiam Fisheries apart is how decisively they act on what their data reveals. First, they do just-in-time container ordering. Based on historical sales data, the business places its frozen seafood orders exactly 1 month before the anticipated peak seasons, enough to meet surging demand without locking up unnecessary capital or overwhelming their cold storage. Second action taken is their flexible Ramadan operations. When the data signals the annual shift in demand, Tiam Fisheries scales down restaurant deliveries and instead redirects its operational focus toward the booming retail crowd at the wet market, serving the right customer at the right time. And third, dynamic pricing for slow movers. When the AutoCount report flags a fresh item trending downward, the business acts immediately by reducing prices at the wet market that same day to liquidate the stock before it spoils. There are no bundling and no waste. They are just depending on data-driven decisions on the ground. And the results speak for themselves. Since implementing this data-driven approach, Tiam Fisheries has achieved 0% spoilage, which means that every piece of fresh seafood that enters the business are not wasted. Stockouts also have become rare, meaning clients can always count on a reliable supply by the business. And in a market driven by price competition and thin margins, trust is the ultimate competitive advantage. And trust, it turns out, is built one accurate order at a time, by satisfying the ever-changing needs of customers at the wet market. Tiam Fisheries' use cases reveals the strength of data-driven digital economy in this day and age, where this approach is not just for tech giants and corporations, but also for a family seafood business doing what they have always done, just smarter.